Right, so what we got here is a series of database questions. Some of them theory related, some of them looking at how to run the actual query. So what we've got here is you've got three tables, okay? You've got book, copy, student, and loan. So basically a student, okay, can loan out any book that they want, and you've got the loan here. But what you'll notice here, even before I go on to the question, is that this has a link to this table here, so I can find out the student information, all right? But the other thing is, this field here, if I needed to find out the book title, I could go to this field here and find out the book title. So there's a relationship, all right? This is the foreign key that takes you to these tables, and this would be your primary key. So remember, when you've got a relational database, you link through a third-party field, which is your key, okay? Now, what we've got here is complete the SQL to delete the loan record for the book PB02, all right? So, I've got my book. All you got to do is look at the table that it's found in. So the table this is found in is, yeah, so why do we not go to book? Yeah, you've got to be careful, because straight away here, people would look at this and go, oh, book, PB002, all right, and they would go and delete it out of the book table, all right? If you read the question carefully, it says, all right, he's returned the book of Python Basics. Complete the SQL to delete the loan record, all right? So in an exam, I would go through and underline the table it's coming from and then the field. So now I know that it is delete from loan, because it's in this table, delete from loan, all right? And then that's where you put your criteria. Well, we've already got the where, all right? Now, I'm going to go to where copy ID equals PB002, okay? Why is that wrong, just leaving it like that? Why is that wrong, just leaving it like that?
You could invert things around.
No. Right, by deleting PB002, okay, that is now going to delete that, but it's not going to remove the student. So you should have had and student ID equals TUC004. Alright? Because then that deletes the link between the two tables. Alright? So if you have relationships between the other tables, you've got to remove those as well. Alright? So you got 1 mark for getting the loan, but remember, there are 2 primary keys here, so you need to access them both and remove those. Alright? How many of you forgot to put in the second one, the and? Alright, so it's something new, so just remember to focus on that, alright? Right. Let's go over. So the next one here says, the teacher keeps a record of books. It's the same tables, alright? So what we've got here, shade 2 lozenges to show the following statements which are benefits of a relational database. If you are rusty on your theory, you need to go over this and make sure you are fully aware. So, if we have a look at these, we can rule out number 1 already. This is a relational database. Are they all stored in one table? No, let's rule that out, okay? Redundant data is less likely to be stored. What it means by redundant data is when you end up repeating data. So for example, if I had in here a loan ID and I kept repeating the same student and copy ID over and over and over, if you see repetition of data, it is not normalized and there's no relationship there, okay? So it is B, all right? Tables don't need primary keys. Is that true or false? Even when you've got a flat file, there's usually a primary key. It might even be a composite key. Do you remember that a composite key is where you join multiple keys together? Yeah? So that's not entirely true. There are less likely to be data inconsistencies. That is true. All right? All right, we've got another one here. Same database. State the most suitable data type for deposit paid in... So we've got deposit here. All right. You could have had real, float, decimal, currency. You could have had either of those. If you put string, it's wrong. All right. Strings should only be where you've got text, all right? Even if it's one character, you know, you would put character there, you know, varchar, all right? So, any questions on that? Moving over. State one field from the loan table that is a foreign key. So remember, foreign keys are keys that are found in other tables. Well, you know here, you've got the copy ID, which is linking that table. And from this table, you've got the student ID. So, the foreign keys, every single one of you should have got this at this point, should have been copy ID. Or, you could have got a mark for student ID. Alright, so if you are struggling with the foreign key, always look for the key that are linking the tables together. Right, I might need to do this on another page. Right, Year 11 students must return their books after finishing their GCSE. Make sure you do. I need them for next year's, okay? Alright, I have got a spreadsheet, remember. Using the database shown, write an SQL query that lists all of the loans, so all of the loans for students who are in Year 11. It's not finished there yet. The query must only return, this is where people go wrong, right? Because what a lot of people might do is select all or select star. You've got to be specific about the fields you want to select. So it says both names, so I'm going to need their names, the ID of the book, and the deposit. I don't need any more data on that, all right? So, to start a query, we always start with which keyword when it comes to looking up information? It is select, all right? Let me just make a note up here of what I needed again. So I needed their name, last name, copy ID, and deposit. Right, so did it say it wanted them in an order? Yes, look, must be in ascending order
The names is split.
of the last name. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they are split. So, right, so let's go through this. First thing, what are the three keywords for interrogating the database? Select from where. Good, all right, remember that because there's always a mark for that. So we're going to select, and we're going to need their first name, last name, copy ID, and deposit paid. Got me? Right. from which tables. So if you look here, alright, can I get, what you're going to look here closely at, I need their first names. I can't see that in the loan table. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to need to get their information from the student table, but then the other information is coming from loan. So which tables am I selecting it from? Student and loan. So what you're going to do is look where the data is coming from. Alright? So look closely where it is coming from. Now, to make sure you get the link between the two tables, that's where you're going to have to compare it. So this is where this condition here, if there is a relationship, you've got to make sure the relationship is the same in both tables. Okay, so I am going to need to specify the table student dot student ID, all right, equals loan dot student ID. What that now means is it's going to be taken from, it's going to make sure it finds the match in the table. If you leave that relationship out, it's not going to work properly. Is there anything else other criteria I needed to look up? What was it? So how am I going to make sure that both, remember Booleans, both are applied? You used an and, well done. And year group equals 11. Do not put speech marks around it because 11 is an integer, it's a number. So you shouldn't have had speech marks around that. Last bit. What am I going to need to do?
Order by.
Order. Right, order by last name ASC. So where you've got data in two tables, you always make sure you've got the link, because otherwise it may only remove or show information from one table. Okay, you want to make sure that you're able to get that link there. Okay, so that's in your where criteria. Right, moving on. This is where we're testing your theory. Okay, it says define the term relational database. Define the term relational database. So you can get 1 mark for saying a database with multiple tables. Then you can say linked, so that's 1 mark, linked together using a foreign key to reference the table. Am I making sense? Yeah? Right. Moving on. State a benefit of using relational databases. All right. Reduces data redundancy. Get that word into your vocabulary when studying databases. The other thing is it reduces data inconsistency. So if you had either of those, you would have been given 1 mark. State the name of the field from the member table that is most suitable to use as a primary key. Alright, basically remember primary keys have to be unique. So if I look at the member table here, the only one that could possibly be unique is the member ID, because you've got to think about this logistically. Some people could have the same names, and some people could have joined on the same day. In fact, you can see that this person here has joined on the same day. So you know it's not that. But then you've got to think logistically, even though that these names aren't the same, it doesn't mean it wouldn't happen in the future. So you should have had member ID. State the name of the field in the award table that is the foreign key. So it's the table that links them together, which is member ID. Alright? So you should have had member ID twice. Alright? You would lose marks, alright, if you put quotation marks around it. That's bad. Don't do that. Alright? You would also lose marks if there was an obvious space between the field name. The field name has to be written exactly how it is. Right. Getting through this. We have another table here. Right. Go and turn this over. Let's look at what we've got to do. Write an SQL query used to find the information. The results have been... So, a youth club wants to produce a report listing the members who have been given a leader award. Alright, so leader award is award 4. Alright, and the date each of the awards and the date the award was presented. So let's have a look here. So what do I need to know? The members. Alright, it says include both names, so I need first name and surname, and the date the award was presented. So let's look at what's our criteria going to be for the select. So what are we going to do first? Select the first name, good. And last name. And date presented. Alright, I think some of you need to practice database a bit more. Alright, so from the tables, where do we find that data? So we're going to go from, let's have a look at that data a second. Alright, well, the actual members' names are in a members table. The actual awards is in an awards table. So I need the member and the awards table for this. You're getting information from two separate places, so you need to. So from member, comma, award. Now, what did I say about matching up data across the tables? What have I got to do? So I've got to use the field and the table it's coming from. So where? So you're going to go member, so the table, member dot member ID equals, which table is the member in again? Award dot member. So I've now got the link between the tables. Good, well done. But what am I going to need to do in order to... What else? I've got another one, another piece of criteria. So that's got to be true. Somebody just said it. Somebody just said it. No, something to join the criteria together. It both need to be true, so it should be and. Right, the last thing, I need to see award name equals leader. And it's got to be order by date presented, ask. Right. A new member joins the youth club. The following SQL is run to add their details. So we're inserting details here. So these are the queries that you may struggle with a little bit more, which is why I shoved them in here. All right. So a new member is joining your youth club, but remember, whenever you do insert into, you've got to say the no. So, oh, I'm with you. I thought you were saying that word is table. No, you've got a name. Yeah. So that what table is it going into? Member. Sorry, it's a Monday morning. I'm tired. And last bit, what goes there? So you say insert into the table name, which is member. Then word beginning with V, values. Good. We're nearly there, I think. All right. The database, we've got another database. I'm going to whiz through these because we should be able to spot this. But again, it says state the field in the booking table that is a foreign key. All right. And what you should have had there is, it's not a great example. All right, I would not use that as a primary key ever, anywhere. All right, but in terms of the foreign key, it is name, because that's what is in both tables, okay? It's not a great thing. People can have the same name, but in this case it was name. Because if you look at some of the other data, it is the same. State the most for complexity. Complexity, we would have real, float, or decimal. Real, float, or decimal. This query contains 2 errors. All right. And it wants you to, that shows the average amount of time to play a game in minutes. Add the query to add. A query to add 10 minutes to the length of the time taken has been created. Well, first of all, game length is added 9 minutes, so what should that be? 10. All right. And there is a problem where it says complexity of more than 3. What have we got? Yeah. So you would have to write down here, update. You'd write the whole thing out, update, because it says refine. Alright, so update game, set length of game equals length of game plus 10. If you want to, you can underline your correction. Alright, where complexity is less greater than 3. All right. Don't underline that correction, because what's it going to make it? Greater than or equal to. So I wouldn't do. I wouldn't. If you wanted to, you could draw an arrow to it and say correction, but don't draw a line under it, because it changes the outcome of your answer. All right. So even here, if you wanted to, you could draw a little bit of an arrow to it to show your correction. And we have one question left. All right. Due to a change in layout at the cafe, the game table ID of 2 is no longer suitable for games that can have more than 4 players. The manager needs to find out the customer date and time of all the bookings made for a game table with the ID of 2 that are for a game that have more than 4 players. All right. So let's have a look.